The arrival of Ambassador Chen Wei. The diplomatic shuttle glided through the void of space, approaching the massive crystalline structure of Zephyr Prime. Inside, Ambassador Chen Wei adjusted his simple gray suit, his weathered hands steady despite the importance of this mission. At 63 years old, with silver streaking his black hair and lines etched around his eyes, he looked like any other aging diplomat. That was precisely the point. "Ambassador, we're receiving docking clearance," announced the pilot, breaking Chen's meditation. Chen nodded, his dark eyes reflecting the starlight. Few knew that beneath his calm exterior lay decades of experience that had nothing to do with diplomacy. Earth had chosen him not for his negotiation skills, though he possessed those in abundance, but for something far more dangerous. Zephyr Prime was the crown jewel of galactic civilization, a space station larger than most Earth cities. As humanity's newest and most vulnerable member of the Galactic Federation, they needed someone who could navigate both ballrooms and battlefields with equal grace. They needed Chen Wei, though they didn't know his true name. The Ghost of Shanghai. The airlock hissed open, revealing a delegation of Federation officials. At their center stood a towering figure, 9 feet of muscle and chitin, encased in ceremonial armor. War Master Thrak of the Kraxian Empire, his 4 arms crossed in what Chen recognized as a gesture of superiority. "So this is Earth's champion." Thrak's voice rumbled like grinding stone. "They send us an elder to represent their warrior species. How quaint." Chen bowed slightly, the perfect picture of humility. "War Master Thrak, I am honored by your presence. I am merely a servant of peace." Thrak's mandibles clicked in what might have been laughter. "Peace is for the weak, human. But come, the council awaits your wisdom." As they walked through the station's grand corridors, Chen observed everything. Security patterns, structural weaknesses, the way different species interacted. His mind cataloged it all with the precision that had made him Earth's most feared operative during the Shadow Wars. The council chamber was a marvel of alien architecture, with seats arranged in concentric circles beneath a transparent dome showing the cosmos. 27 species were represented, from the ethereal luminary who existed as pure energy to the silicon-based crystallids. Humanity's seat was positioned at the outer edge, a clear message about their status. "Esteemed members of the Galactic Federation," Chen began, his voice carrying perfectly in the acoustically designed chamber. "Earth comes seeking friendship and mutual prosperity." "Pretty words," Thrak interrupted, his bulk casting a shadow across the floor. "But we know your species' history. War, conquest, destruction. Why should we trust you?" Chen smiled gently. "Because we have learned from our mistakes, War Master, and because we offer something unique: perspective." The meeting continued with the usual diplomatic dance. Trade agreements, territorial boundaries, technology exchanges. But Chen noticed the subtle signs: whispered conversations, furtive glances, data pads being passed between Kraxian delegates. Something was brewing. That night, in his modest quarters, Chen activated a secure channel to Earth. "The Kraxians are planning something," he reported. "I need deep background on their recent military movements." 20 minutes later, his worst suspicions were confirmed. The Kraxians had been massing forces near Earth's colonies, hidden behind routine patrols and training exercises. A soft chime at his door interrupted his analysis. Chen's hand instinctively moved toward a hidden weapon before he caught himself. "Old habits." "Enter," he called. His assistant, Maya Patel, stepped inside looking worried. "Ambassador, there's been an incident." The research vessel Endeavour reported unusual Kraxian activity near the Proxima colony, then went silent. Chen's expression remained neutral, but inside, pieces clicked into place. "Thank you, Maya. Please arrange a private meeting with Ambassador Silphus of the Silveri delegation." After she left, Chen moved to a hidden compartment in his luggage. Inside lay items that had no place in a diplomat's possession: nanofiber garrotes, poison capsules, and a device that could override any security system on the station. The ghost of Shanghai had work to do. The next morning, Chen found evidence planted in his quarters, false communications suggesting Earth was planning to break the non-aggression pact. Amateur work, really. The assassin's mandibles clicked in defiance. Chen sighed. I was afraid you'd say that. 5 minutes later, Chen had his answers. The Craxians were planning to frame Earth for an attack on the Council itself, using it as justification for invasion. Clever, but not clever enough. Chen activated his communicator. Maya, please inform the Council I'll be requesting an emergency session tomorrow, and send my regards to War Master Thrak. Tell him. Chen smiled coldly. Tell him Baba Yaga sends her greetings. In his luxurious quarters, War Master Thrak received the message. For the first time in decades, he felt something alien to his warrior nature. Fear. The human diplomat was not what he seemed, and tomorrow, the Council would learn why Earth had sent this particular representative to the stars. The ghost of Shanghai was about to remind the galaxy why humans were not to be underestimated. The web of deception. The emergency council session convened at dawn, artificial sunlight streaming through the crystalline dome. Chen arrived precisely on time, his suit immaculate, his expression serene. But those who looked closely might have noticed the predatory awareness in his movements, the way his eyes catalogued every exit, every potential threat. War Master Thrak sat rigid in his seat, his forearms twitching nervously. The 3 assassins had vanished without a trace, and Thrak's security chief had found only a single origami crane in their quarters, a calling card that made the War Master's blood run cold. Esteemed colleagues, Chen began, his voice carrying effortlessly. I've called this session to address a matter of grave concern. Our vessel, the Endeavor, has gone missing near Proxima Colony. Unfortunate, Thrak growled, trying to project confidence, but hardly worthy of an emergency session. Chen's smile didn't reach his eyes. Oh, but it is, War Master. You see, the Endeavor was carrying something quite valuable. Detailed records of Craxian fleet movements over the past 6 months. A ripple of whispers swept through the chamber. Several delegates leaned forward, suddenly interested. What are you implying, human? Thrak demanded, rising to his full height. Nothing at all, Chen replied mildly. I'm merely stating facts, just as it's a fact that 3 Craxian operatives attempted to plant false evidence in my quarters last night. They were unsuccessful. The chamber erupted. Accusations flew, delegates shouted for order. Through it all, Chen sat perfectly still, a calm center in the storm. Ambassador Silphus of the Silvari, beings of pure thought given form, approached Chen during the recess. Her ethereal form shimmered like Aurora Borealis. You are not what you appear, Ambassador Chen, she whispered, her voice like wind chimes. We Silvari see beyond flesh. The shadow of death clings to you like a second skin. Chen met her gaze unflinchingly. And what do you see, Ambassador? A predator wearing the mask of prey. The humans chose well. She paused. The Craxians plan to strike during the Festival of Unity tomorrow. They have explosives hidden throughout the station. Chen's expression hardened. How do you know this? We hear thoughts like you hear voices. Their minds scream with violence. Silphus tilted her head. What will you do, ghost of Shanghai? Chen's eyes widened fractionally, the first genuine surprise he'd shown. That name is known to those who see truly. We have watched Earth longer than you know. She flickered, her form becoming more translucent. The small species, the ones the Craxians oppress, they will aid you if you ask. They remember what it is to be underestimated. That night, Chen moved through the station like his namesake, a ghost. He visited the quarters of the pilots, tiny insectoid beings who controlled most of the station's maintenance systems. The Vendra, pacifist philosophers who ran the communications networks. The creaked, crystalline entities who managed the power grid. To each, he brought the same message. The Craxians plan to destroy us all and blame Earth. Will you stand with humanity? By dawn, Chen had woven a web of alliances from the species everyone overlooked. The janitors, the technicians, the servants, all those the Craxians deemed beneath notice. The Festival of Unity began with grand ceremony. Delegates gathered in the Great Hall, a massive chamber at the station's heart. War Master Thrak stood at the podium, preparing to give the traditional speech of peace and cooperation. Chen watched from the shadows of an upper balcony. His network was in place. The pilots had located 17 explosive devices. The Vendra had isolated the detonation frequencies. The Kriegt were ready to cut power to specific sections on his signal. As Thrak began speaking, Chen noticed the War Master's subtle hand signal to hidden operatives. It was time. Chen moved with fluid grace, decades of training evident in every step. He dropped from the balcony, landing silently behind a Craxian guard. A precise nerve strike, and the guard crumpled. The first explosion never came. Instead, emergency lights flickered on as the Kriegt cut primary power. In the confusion, Chen's voice rang out, amplified by Vendra technology. Delegates of the Federation, the Craxians have betrayed us all. They planted explosives throughout this station, planning to massacre the Council and frame Earth for the atrocity. Holographic displays activated, showing security footage of Craxian operatives planting devices, evidence gathered by the overlooked species of the station. Thrak roared in fury, drawing a plasma weapon. But Chen was already moving, flowing through the darkness like water. The War Master fired blindly, his shots illuminating Chen's approach in strobing flashes. "What are you?" Thrak screamed as Chen disarmed him with contemptuous ease. "I am what Earth becomes when threatened," Chen replied, his voice cold as space. "I am the lesson we learned from our wars, that sometimes the greatest strength is knowing when to appear weak." Security forces loyal to the Council arrested the Craxian conspirators. In the aftermath, as order was restored, Ambassador Silthus approached Chen. "The legend of Baba Yaga will spread," she said. "The galaxy will learn that humans are not to be trifled with." Chen shook his head. "That's not the lesson here. The true power wasn't in my skills or Earth's military might. It was in alliance with those everyone dismissed. The Craxians fell because they couldn't see strength in apparent weakness." But even as he spoke, Chen knew the War Master would not accept defeat so easily. This was merely the opening move in a larger game. In his cell, Thrak received a coded message from his fleet commanders. The invasion of Earth would proceed as planned. They would show the galaxy the true meaning of Craxian strength. And in his quarters, Chen Wei, the ghost of Shanghai, the human Baba Yaga, began preparing for war. The legend of Baba Yaga. The Craxian fleet emerged from hyperspace like a swarm of metallic locusts, their warships blotting out the stars. 300 vessels, each bristling with enough firepower to devastate a planet, moved in perfect formation toward Earth's outer colonies. On Zephyr Prime, alarms blared as the attack began. The station's shields flared under bombardment while smaller Craxian craft deployed troops for boarding actions. War Master Thrak had escaped during the chaos, rejoining his forces for what he believed would be humanity's extinction. In the council chamber, panic reigned. Delegates screamed for their own security forces, for evacuation, for surrender. Only Ambassador Chen Wei remained calm, standing at the center of the storm like the eye of a hurricane. "Ambassador." Maya Patel rushed to his side. "The Craxians are jamming all communications. We can't warn Earth." Chen placed a gentle hand on her shoulder. "Earth knew this was coming, Maya. We've been preparing since before I arrived." He turned to address the terrified council. "Ladies and gentlemen, you are about to learn why humans became the dominant species on a death world." With practiced efficiency, Chen shed his diplomatic persona like a snake shedding skin. From hidden compartments in his quarters, he retrieved tools of his former trade: adaptive camouflage suit, neural interface, and weapons that violated several galactic treaties. "What are you doing?" demanded the Crystallid ambassador. "What I was trained for," Chen replied. Ambassador Silphus, can your people maintain a psychic network for coordination? The Sylvari nodded, her form pulsing with energy. We can, but against such numbers. Numbers mean nothing in the right terrain. This station is now that terrain. Chen activated his neural interface, his eyes glowing with augmented reality displays. Maya, gather the human staff. It's time they learned why I was really sent here. As Kraxian shock troops breached the outer hull, they expected to find cowering diplomats and easy victims. Instead, they found empty corridors and sealed blast doors. Chen had spent months mapping every duct, every maintenance tunnel, every secret passage in Zephyr Prime. The first Kraxian squad entered the hydroponics bay. The artificial jungle, maintained by the plant-like Verdani, seemed peaceful. Then the vegetation itself turned against them. Vines lashed out, thorns pierced armor, and spores clouded their vision. In the confusion, a shadow moved. Chen struck like a phantom, eliminating the squad leader before vanishing into the foliage. Impossible. Thrak roared from his command ship. Deploy the hunter-killer units. Meanwhile, Earth's response arrived. Not the massive fleet the Kraxians expected, but small, fast ships using hit-and-run tactics. Humanity had learned from Chen's example: appear weak, strike from shadow, turn strength against itself. On the station, Chen coordinated with the alliance he'd built. The Vendra disrupted Kraxian communications with psychic static. The creaked channeled power surges through the station's grid, overloading Kraxian equipment. The pilots turned maintenance drones into improvised weapons. For 3 days, the battle raged. For 3 days, Chen hunted through the station he had turned into a death trap. Kraxian morale crumbled as their unstoppable invasion became a nightmare of ambushes and sabotage. Finally, Thrak himself led an assault on the council chamber, determined to end this humiliation personally. He brought his elite guard, warriors who had never known defeat. They found Chen waiting. "Welcome, War Master," Chen said, standing alone in the center of the chamber. "Shall we end this properly?" Thrak laughed, the sound tinged with madness. "You think you can defeat me in single combat, old man?" "I think," Chen replied, his stance shifting subtly, "that you still don't understand what you're facing." Thrak charged, his 4 arms wielding energized blades. Chen moved like smoke, like water, like death itself. Every attack met empty air. Every defense came too late. The fight was not a battle. It was an execution choreographed over decades of practice. When it ended, Thrak lay broken on the chamber floor, his armor shattered, his pride destroyed. Around them, holographic displays showed the Kraxian fleet in retreat, pursued by human ships that seemed to anticipate their every maneuver. "How?" Thrak gasped, green blood bubbling from his mandibles. Chen knelt beside him. "You saw an aging diplomat and dismissed him. You saw a young species and thought them weak. You confused technology with power, numbers with strength." He leaned closer. "On Earth, Baba Yaga isn't just a witch. She's a force of nature. She tests those who enter her domain. The worthy survive. The unworthy." He gestured to the defeated Kraxian forces. In the aftermath, the Galactic Federation underwent a fundamental shift. The Kraxian Empire, exposed as aggressors, lost their dominant position. The smaller species, emboldened by their role in the victory, demanded equal representation. And humanity, the newest members, found themselves respected and feared. Chen resumed his role as ambassador, but now, when he entered the council chamber, delegates fell silent. They had seen behind the mask, glimpsed the steel beneath the silk. "Will you return to Earth?" Ambassador Silphus asked during a quiet moment. Chen smiled, the expression carrying both warmth and warning. "A diplomat's work is never done." Besides, he glanced at the stars beyond the dome. "There are other threats out there, other lessons to teach." The legend spread across the galaxy of the human Baba Yaga who defeated an empire not through strength, but through cunning. of the species that sent their most dangerous warrior disguised as their most harmless diplomat. And in the darker corners of space, where pirates and warlords plotted, a new warning echoed: beware the humans. They are not what they seem. Chen Wei returned to his quarters, carefully hanging his suit in the closet. On his desk sat a small wooden figure, a gift from his grandmother long ago. A witch in a mortar, seemingly harmless, but holding secrets of power. Sometimes the greatest strength was knowing when to appear weak. Sometimes the deadliest warrior was the one who never seemed to fight at all. The ghost of Shanghai had become the Baba Yaga of the stars, and the galaxy would never be the same.